All right, hello class. Here we are, new environment, because we don't have a choice. Um, so we're moving completely online. I'll be delivering a lecture once per week, covering the information needed for the week. Some adjustments that are going to be made to the class schedule. First of all, you will not need to complete composition proposals 2, 3, and 4 years, and I'm just going to award those points. Discussion boards are going to stay the same. You still need to turn in your annotated bibliography. That should be nearly done. You should have most of the work done for that already. Um, we're going to switch your research paper to a revision of your problem analysis paper. So we'll be working with that with you individually. And what you're going to need to do is you need to set up an appointment with me once per week through www.langston.mywconline. That's www.langston.mywconline.com. And when you set that appointment up, as you're setting the appointment up, you need to upload a draft of your current paper. And when you upload that draft, I'm going to take a look at it. I'm going to give you something to do on that paper before the next week so that you're constantly going to be making updates to that paper. And then, as you make your appointment for the following week, upload the revised draft. Also, I want you to have a meeting with one of the tutors once per week, also through www.langston.mywconline.com. Same way that you've always made your appointments. Um, the material that you're going to be getting through D2L is going to take a variety of forms. It'll be everything from PowerPoints, links to read and review. There will probably be a quiz once per week over that material. It's not going to be hard. It's not going to be difficult. It's just to make sure that you're getting through it. So please review all of that information. All the information is going to be under content. So when you go into content, it's going to be a module that says week of whatever week we're on. So just do all the material that's in that section. If you have any questions at all, go ahead and shoot me an email. Also, if you have not done so already, please join the Remind for the class. I've sent out an email instructing you how to join the Remind for this class. So please make sure you do that as soon as possible. Right now, less than half of the class is actually enrolled in it. So please get that done as soon as you possibly can. All right. What I want to review today, we've got information on note-taking online. We've got information on evaluating sources online. I want to talk about some other options for note-taking that aren't necessarily covered in that information. So one of the ways we keep track of information is through what's called marginalia. And marginalia is where you go in to a book and you put your thoughts or your ideas down in the margins of the book. Okay? And this is a really good way of getting your immediate thoughts down on the paper right next to the material that you are dealing with. So that's really the advantage of this type of note-taking. The disadvantage is that because it's in the margins, there's very limited space to put your thoughts down. And so your thoughts are really kind of contained by the amount of space that you have there. So it's a good place to jot down a quick thought or an idea. It's not a good place to really work through those thoughts. Another way that people kind of keep track of information is through highlighting. And highlighting is a great way of organizing the information that's already there. I strongly recommend highlighting in multiple colors. Have a color that represents different things. So, for example, if you're doing highlighting in a history book, do all of your dates in blue. Do all of your, if you're talking about presidents, do all the presidents in green. Any way that you can use color to associate that color with a particular concept, mentally that's going to allow you to grab onto that idea better and more quickly recall it. There's a thing called spatiotemporal memory. And spatio, of course, space, temporal meaning time. So as you do things to help you remember, you want to have it in a particular space and time and various types of associations. And doing it in multiple colors basically allows particular colors to pop in a particular space so that you associate better with it. The disadvantages of highlighting: you can over highlight very easily. I'm sure most of you have probably at some point highlighted an entire page, which is not very useful. The other disadvantage to this is it's not really in your words. Okay, so when things aren't in your words, we tend to lose track of them. So try to think of the things that you're seeing in your own words. Another way of keeping track of information is through note cards. Note cards are great for getting larger ideas down. Okay. For basically delving into the concepts, you can put some of your own thoughts and ideas about it on the note card. And like highlighters that can be colored, note cards, you can get different colors of note cards and color code them according to the topic that you're dealing with. Disadvantages to note cards: I'm sure many of you who have made note cards have at some point lost those note cards. So unfortunately, the ability to lose them is a disadvantage. Also, unlike marginalia or highlighting, you're now moving away from the source. The note cards aren't right there in the book, unlike marginalia. And organization-wise, they don't necessarily follow a particular order. One way around that would be to number them and keep them numbered in that order. You can hole punch the note cards and put like a ring through them to keep them in the order that you want. So that's a way of using note cards that can be advantageous to you. Some of you will use handwritten notes. So you're in class and you're just writing out notes as you go. Of course, this puts it in your own words like note cards do, which is an advantage. And it's also your immediate reactions to the teacher or to the lecture or to the book or whatever. So you're getting that initial thought down. So that's a really nice advantage. Some of the disadvantages, though: handwritten notes are really hard to organize because, especially if you have a teacher that just rambles. Don't know any professors like that at all, I'm sure. But if you have a professor that rambles, you're taking information down in the order that it's coming out of the professor's brain, and that it's basically just a stream of consciousness onto the page. Also, trying to write by hand, it's really hard to keep up with what's going on. And you can end up like focusing so much on trying to get one idea down, you don't get the next thing that's coming, and so you lose track that way. Another way of approaching this is, if your professor allows it, is to take notes in Word. And Word has a lot of advantages to it as you're doing this. Obviously, if you're taking notes in Word, if you're typing, you can type faster than you can handwrite. Okay? So it's easier to keep up with what the professor is saying. Another major advantage is, even if that professor is stream of consciousness and they're jumping back and forth and you're putting the information down, you can go back in, cut, paste, reorganize the info in any way that you want. In fact, you can even create like a standard outline for it, Roman numerals, letters, etc., and have it nice, neat, and organized. A couple disadvantages to this, though, and they're ones that you really need to be aware of if you're using this. Sometimes you get so caught up in typing, okay, especially because you can type fast, and you're trying to keep up with everything the professor's saying. You're typing it without listening to it, and you're not really absorbing the information. You're not thinking about it, and you're not comprehending it. So be really careful as you're typing to get the main points without trying to get the whole thing and then losing track of what's actually going on. The other disadvantage with Word is what we call the sterile screen. Okay, so when you're looking at a computer screen, it's all nice, it's neat, it's organized. Remember when we were talking about spatiotemporal stuff, right? There's a space, and we identify things in space in our memory. Okay, that's how we hold on to information. It has a space and it has a time associated with it. But because the screen is sterile and there's no distinct markers of place on it, it's really easy to lose that information. So be careful of that as far as trying to retain information from a screen where there's nothing but words typed on a page. We don't have this problem with books because books are three-dimensional. Okay, we interact with them differently mentally. So if you're going to do it on a screen, I'd really highly recommend printing the pages off and then highlighting or something on that to give yourself some type of mental marker to hold on to the information. Now, the way that I strongly recommend taking notes, if you can, okay, if you have this option, is using PowerPoint. And the reason that I recommend PowerPoint is, again, coming back to that spatiotemporal idea, the idea that there's a space that is distinct in PowerPoint and time. So, for example, if we're talking about the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, right? So it happened at Ford's Theater. So really quickly, Google a picture of Ford's Theater, put that in as a picture into one side of the PowerPoint. Have a title across the top, Ford's Theater. Have the information, you have your picture on your left, for example, and then your information on Ford's Theater on your right. But then you can alternate that as well and go back and forth so that your images show up in different places. It's not always image on the left, image on the left, image on the left. Alter the way in which it appears, because that gives you mental markers to hold on to the information. The other thing that you can do is if you really quickly right-click on your image in PowerPoint, you can create a hyperlink. So if it's on Ford's Theater, right? Google Ford's Theater, even if it's the Wikipedia article on Ford's Theater, you've got that. So create a hyperlink by right-clicking on the image in PowerPoint, clicking on Create a Hyperlink, paste the URL in, and save it. And then every time you click on the picture, it'll take you directly to the article. This is a really good way, I think, of taking notes, especially if you have a little bit of time. Then you can go back, clean it up, etc. Because it gives you so many mental markers to hold on to the information. All right, so as a reminder, number one, homework, okay, for this week. The 2 PowerPoints that I uploaded have some questions on it. I'm going to I'm going to rename in the Dropbox something that'll say homework. It'll probably say like homework week of March, I think it's 23rd. So you're going to deposit the answers to the questions from the PowerPoints into homework week of March 23rd. Make sure you set your appointment with me through WC Online as soon as you can. And also, you want to set your appointment with the tutor as soon as you can. That schedule should be coming live. There's going to be some alterations to the schedule as the tutors get their times in, but most of them should be accurate right now. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me via email as soon as you can. Look forward to working with you. If you need any help, any questions, please get in touch with me. Love y'all. Have a good one, guys. Bye.